4 days, and we are getting into the double sport area where it gets tiring for a couple weeks, and then we'll be back to just basketball, just one sport, and then it'll be a little bit more manageable, and people will not have to worry about me showing up in your inbox all the time. That can probably be a pretty scary thing, kid.
No, it's fun. I love our subscribers. I love our loyal listeners. They're all here, man. They're here for it.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week. Let's go over this. Illinois 87 to 73 over our friends at UT Rio Grande Valley. So it was a game that Brad Sturdy told us that Illinois might. He said, "Don't sleep on these guys. These guys are better than people think, better than their record was." And turned out that this was a closer game. And Illinois did have to play harder than people would suspect. Illinois ended up shooting 50% from the field. UT RGV was at 40%. When it came to looking at things like 3-point percentage, Illinois was 27%, and you had 42% for our Texas friends. 86% from the free throw line for Illinois, 19 for 22. People wanted to see that. That was nice. 50% free throw percentage from our Texas opponents. Illinois had 11 turnovers, only 4 for UTRGV. From the turnover thing, points off of turnovers, 8-3. Illinois was behind there. Total rebounds, Illinois 44. UTRGV 32. Illinois had the defensive rebound advantage of 34-21, and was actually had a 11-10 deficit on offensive rebound. Second chance points, Texas had 12. Illinois had 10. Illinois had 29 bench points to 16. Points in the paint, Illinois 44-28. Fast break points. There was a lot of fast breaks this game, 4-3 advantage for Illinois. Illinois had 3 blocks. UT had 7 steals. Illinois had 1. Illinois had 17 assists versus 10. The game was tied one time for 37 seconds. There were 8 lead changes, and Illinois had the lead 31 minutes and 38 seconds of the game. Brad, going through the quick statistics there, Stojakovic, 24 points. Petrovic, 12. Both Ivasic were at 10 each. We had Merkovich at 10. Boswell, 6. Wagler, 8. Lee, 4. Jake Davis, 3. Rickhouse had 0. So just to kind of give you an idea of what people did, Stojakovic with 24 points had an impressive outing. Your thoughts, Brad?
Yeah, man, those are a lot of stats, Mike.
I got everything out there that I possibly could for anybody who
let me tell you, I could give 2 craps about those stats. They absolutely positively mean nothing about this game. This was a game where Illinois just didn't come out and compete the way that they should have. They did not, and Brad Underwood talked about it. They weren't very good. I mean, they didn't make shots. That's part of it, and I think it affected them on the other end of the floor, where they allowed that to kind of, hurt them. Now they made 2s, I guess. They were 22 of 30 from 2-point range, but they have to do a better job of guarding in space. You saw another team, small ball, Brankovic basically playing the 5, and then they had Dixon playing the 4 at 6'7". Those 2 guys both had career highs. Brankovic 15, Dixon had 21. I think his career high was like 11 or 12 or something coming in. They just basically attacked the Illini bigs. The big men did not guard well, whether it's Merkovich, whether it's Ivasic or Ivasic. Those 3 guys really struggled to defend in space. And it wasn't just about like guarding the ball. It was all the screens, the ghost screens, the actions where they were cutting off that. And they really struggled to guard that. And I think that's a concern. And I think they wanted them to have to guard in space because the reality. Now, here's the thing. Your next 2 games, you're going to play teams with 7-foot guys. It's going to be a different animal the next 2 games than what you're seeing with these small balls. So I think it's good that Brad puts that pressure on them and wants them to have to guard in space and do those things. But, they have to get better. And I thought Petrovic offensively changed the game for Illinois. He was fantastic on offense, but he doesn't really, defensively, he's obviously not a defensive stopper. And you get really small in the backcourt when you have him and Boswell and Wagler as your 3 guards there. So I think that figure out how they're going to use those guys. But I think Petrovic really changed the game from an offensive standpoint. So yeah, I think it's fun. And then you got to figure out how much Tommy does not look good. Z can't guard in space. I mean, he jumps and then it takes him 7 years to come back down and re-jump. And then, so, Tommy's got to get better. He can't jump, so he doesn't get off his feet as much. So I think that you'd like to see him get healthy and start playing well. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but they just didn't bring it tonight.
Ked?
Well, I'm not going to repeat everything Brad said, but he's right. It's hard. It is really hard from going to playing Alabama at the United Center to going back. You're going to win the game. I've been there, done that. You've seen it. It was boring to watch. My concern is what Brad mentioned, going small ball. And here's what's I guess I want to see it addressed this week, because if you guys remember, they also mentioned in the second half they went small ball against Illinois United Center. So, and that's what happened again tonight. And if teams are going to do that to them, and they have the size to match it, it's just getting the right combination out there to do that, because teams are good at scouting. And I can assure you, if Illinois gets out on a run and the bigs are showing up, UConn's bigs, I can bet you, they're going to go small, and then Illinois is going to have to match it. I was really, really impressed with Andre Stojakovic, because he was the one guy I thought that had energy. I think it's because he got his behind chewed out last week, and because of his lack of defense, I thought he played hard. But again, this was a game that everybody knew. I had people saying to me today, who's Illinois play tonight? Nobody really cared, because they knew they were going to win. And that's kind of a good thing. It shows where the program is. And from a player standpoint, and you guys may agree or disagree, I'm not an analytics, and if you guys want to throw them to me, I'll listen. But right now, I would like to see Jake Davis get some of Ben Rickhouse's minutes. We can sit and say that Ben's getting 8 rebounds. I can assure you, if Jake played 20 minutes, he might get more than 2 or 3. I think some of the looks that Ben is getting, there's a reason he's open, and I think Jake would probably make some of those threes that would help. Until he gets going, I would love, me personally, I'd like to see him get some of those minutes. And we can say he doesn't guard, or he doesn't guard as well. He's not as big. I understand that. But none of them are great at playing defense at this point.
Wait, hang on. I got to respond to that one right now.
You go right ahead, buddy, because I'm going to respond back.
Talking about how bad defense is, why would you put a worse defender and rebounder? You lost the offensive rebounding battle. And why would you put a worse defender and rebounder on the floor who's actually shooting worse from 3-point range on the season?
Okay, here's my response to that. I don't know what the percentages are, but I can tell you this, Brian, and I will answer both questions. I can assure you, and I think you're smart enough to understand, if Jake Davis had the amount of open looks and the same amount of attempts, I would like to eventually think we both would think his percentage would be better. And Ben is bigger than Jake. I understand that. Jake is not horrible on defense. Is he great? Is he a
yes, he is.
We're going to agree to disagree on that, but I'm going to tell you this. I would much rather – there's a reason he's open. His shot can look beautiful. It can look great. And I know there's 2 sides of that. Brandon, I agree with you. I see everything. Everybody's missing open looks. But nobody right now, when Ben Rickhouse is shooting the basketball, I want anybody to tell me that they feel comfortable that shot's going to go in. And it looks great. And if they want to play him and he goes play 20 minutes, that's not my decision. I personally don't like it, and I would much rather see someone else in there to make shots. And if they're going to, and then occasionally they play zone, which we've seen, and it's not a lot, I would much rather give Jake some of those minutes. That's just me, until Ben starts making shots. So if he played 20 minutes a game like Ben did tonight, I can assure you he'd have 3 or 4 rebounds, and I can bet you some of those open looks Jake's going to make. That's my take. I'm not going to change it. I understand where you're coming from, and I know everybody talks about how great he played defense in Alabama, but I don't want to see that. I don't.
Well, he also played, had 8 rebounds tonight. So here's the difference. 2 players right now. Humrickhouse is playing 22 minutes a game, and Davis is playing a little over 16 to 17 minutes a game.
How much did he play tonight? And I don't understand what you're saying. How much did he play tonight? Because I'm looking right at it too.
I'm just telling you that's for the season.
I know, and I think because they play my
Humrickhouse was 20 tonight, 20 minutes tonight. And Jake Davis was 9.
So here's your rebounding rates. Humrickhouse has a rebounding rate. He's grabbing 18.3% of defensive rebounds. Jake is averaging 5.
He's bigger and he plays more. But I'm not saying that they're going to rebound the same.
That doesn't matter how much you play.
Okay, we're not okay. I will tell you this. I would venture to bet on the side of this podcast right now, if people were honest, and we can agree or disagree. I do not want to see him miss shots like that all the time. I just don't. And I can talk about analytics. I'm not a fan of it. I don't want to see that because I don't think he's going to make shots. And it's not just Kedrick. It's not me. And if they want to play him because he's a senior, because he's 6'9", he should get rebounds. He is bigger.
Why would you choose Jake Davis though?
Because because of the guy that they're subbing in. Who else? Because I think maybe.
I'm
answering the question. If they're going to play Ben Humrickhouse to shoot the ball, I'm assuming that's why he's playing, and maybe because he plays defense, he is getting wide open looks all the time. So that's why I would sub him out, because I don't think Brandon Lee's a great three-point shooter. I really don't. Stojakovic is average. So if you're going to put a shooter in the game, the one guy on the bench, I think that can make shots like him would be Jake. And I don't think he plays enough to get that opportunity. And he probably never will this year. I don't want to see those missed shots all the time. And I think if Jake played as many minutes, and you can say 17 to 22 or whatever, if he played enough and know he's going to be on the court, I think that changes. I know he fouled a guy shooting a three-point shot. Ben has done some of the same things. I just don't think he's a better shooter, Brad. I'm sorry, I don't. Okay, here, you know what? What do you
base it on? Ked, what do you base him being a better shooter?
He's wide open, Matt, and he gets more looks. That's what I'm saying to you. He gets a lot of looks.
So you're saying, Ked, that in your opinion, the amount of open looks with misses is why you would rather have somebody else on the court.
Yes, because he's not making them. He's not.
Now,
and I know he's big.
But here's my question. So what makes you decide that Jake Davis, who shoots a worse percentage,
give him more minutes,
would suddenly be a better player? But
Brad,
I mean, we're talking 22 to 17.
Brad, he knows he's going to be.
You're talking 5 more minutes.
You went to a guy, Brad. Ben started and Jake started at the beginning of the season as well. I understand that, but if you think, I'll end it with this because I'm going to make this podcast about this. Let me ask you: if they shot 23 pointers each, would you bet your house on Ben making more than Jake? Yes or no?
Well, I think since they've shot.
No, Brad. That's not what I asked you, Brad. That's not what I asked you, Brad. Who is going to make more shots, Ben or Jake? Who would you bet your house on? Wide open threes.
Okay, I'm not trying to get there, but you can look at that. You can actually look at that and say how many shots they've taken. They've taken that many shots, and they're shooting the same percentage.
Okay, man.
So what? I don't understand. Like what?
You know, you understand. You don't want to answer the question, Bradley. Who would you bet the money on? Come on, be honest.
I'm not going to bet on either one of them because they're both shooting 35%.
You have to pick. You have to pick one guy.
No, I don't, because they're both shooting 35% from 3. What I'm telling you, they're same guy shooting. One guy just happens to rebound and play defense. The other guy plays no defense and doesn't rebound.
Okay. All right, man. We're going to agree to disagree, man. I'm sorry. But I'll tell you what, if I bet my house and my truck, I'm betting on Jake. I'll say it. I'm betting on Jake. I'm sorry.
Well, if Ked's truck's on the line, that's certainly some serious stuff. I will tell you, I get frustrated by Ben missing the open looks, but I will say that it's a marked difference, his rebounding and his defense this year versus last year. So maybe that is what's keeping him on the court as coaches are waiting for him to knock down threes. That's just another and Fetigator's got he's got his own theory there. So yes, we would just play Jason Jaxtus, and to heck with Humrickhouse. And
well, I see the
Jake
comment.
Davis.
I see the comment from Justin here, but I wonder what he would bet, who he would bet on.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, most of them I've already put Ben in there, so
I don't care. I don't give a damn if they put Donald Trump or Barack Obama or whoever. I don't want to see him. Brad, when he shoots the basketball, I just think, okay, is there a chance it's going to go in? I don't think he's a good shooter. I don't. And he has a beautiful shot. And you know as well as I do, there's a reason he is wide open all the time. All the time.
I mean, he took 2 shots tonight, kid. 2.
I'm saying for the bulk of the season, I'm not talking tonight, the bulk of the season, I'm just not a fan. And I don't want to make this podcast about Ben. I'm sorry. I'm not going to. He's a good kid. I'll tell you that. I love what he's about. I love his Christian values. I love the kid. I think he's a nice guy. He's married to one of my favorite Illinois basketball players. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not sold on him as a shooter. And there may be a stretch where he may go off. He may play great against UConn. Still not going to change my mind on him. I don't want to see that. Just me personally. Sorry. Not a fan.
Here's what I can say. Here's all I'll say. He's taken 344 threes at the Division I level, and he's made 37.2% over 3 years.
That's a better statistic. I think, Brad, to toot your horn, I think he's one of the, I don't remember what the statistic was, but he was one of the top 3-point guys coming back. I don't know if it's the Big Ten or nationally. I just know right now when I see him, I just think with the guys that are shooters, and that's what Jake Davis was brought here to do, to make open shots. And I know that's what they brought Ben here to do because that's what he did last year. He is bigger. He is stronger than Jake Davis. I will admit that I'm not stupid. Everybody in the world can see that. But I can venture to tell you, you know what? You want to go back to one game, go back to the Oregon game last year. Ben shot the ball well, and so can Jake. He just needs some minutes and confidence. That's my take.
All right, so we've got that take started, and the other thing is that it is not very it's not very late in the evening, and we already have St. Dominic going after Brad Underwood, so we know that everything's normal. Reality is where it's supposed to be. I will tell you, my son, who's done a lot of work for us. His theory is he doesn't count anything, very similar to Brad, doesn't count anything that happens in these games. But I will say, I know that it's not Big Ten talent, but I thought that what I saw from Petrovic tonight was extremely encouraging. I don't think he is ready to play, obviously, big-time defense. But I will say, offensively, that dude can run. That dude, I got a lot of faith in him. And I think having an extra guard like that who can handle the ball well, you've got him, you've got Boswell. Wagler has turned into way more than anybody other than Brad Underwood thought he would be as a freshman. And I know, Sturdy, you were high on him as well. I really feel like once Petrovic gets into shape, this Illini team's got a really nice guard rotation, and that doesn't even count Brandon Lee, who's coming back as well.
Did you say Brad thought that? Did you see Twitter last week when I was taken to the woodshed and I was hung because of my comments for Petrovic? Yeah. We both liked him because both Brad and I know how good he is than what they told us. And you know what? I don't know. I don't know if he's 100%. He's not a horrible defensive player. I think he's still learning because he's quick enough. I think he got lost, and I think he switched a couple of times on bigs when he made a mistake, and that's minutes. And I was really glad to see the coaching staff play him tonight because you saw offensively what he can be and how he runs the team. But defensively, I think he's just learning. I think even though he's 45 years old, he's still learning. He's still learning.
He looks like the cover of that. He still looks like Belushi on the cover of that.
Yes.
No, but I think Ked's right. He can guard the ball. He has the quickness, the lateral quickness to guard the ball. The question is going to be, can he guard off the ball? Can he play into a team concept? You know what I mean? So, and that's where he has to, learn. And I think he's trying to figure out also some of the calls, some of the sets. It's one thing to see things on paper and have things. It's different when you actually practice them. And he's just now figuring out Brandon Lampy. That's pretty good. He's just figuring out all the calls, the sets that they're running, what they're doing and stuff. But he's a playmaker. He finds guys that are open. And I think he's just a really good basketball player. I mean, there's a reason that there were actually people who put him all Big Ten this year before he ever played a game because they watched him play in Europe and they knew his numbers are so much better than like Tommy's were coming over or anybody like that. So I think Petrovic can really be a really guy who can make a difference. But I thought, and then you look at tonight, I didn't think Boswell or Wagler played well. Wagler's he's active. He does a lot of good things. He rebounds and does some things, but I didn't think he played well. I didn't think that Boswell played well. So it was good to have a guy like Petrovic. Stojakovic was really good, especially in that first half. He was fantastic. I thought when he stopped, if he wouldn't have shot threes, I think he would have been amazing. I mean, he was 10 of 12 from 2. So yeah,
Brandon apparently wants to be a team manager.
Mike, you have to stop making us laugh on this podcast. Listen, let's be serious here, and I want to focus because Brad is right, and I'll tell you this, and this is a Debbie Downer because we just harped on it for 10 minutes. He had 4 assists, but 2 wide open threes. Ben missed one, Z missed one, and I think Keaton missed one. I mean, his assist would have been better. This is why the people got mad and want to assassinate me because I made the comparison. Nobody said he is Braden Smith today. Nobody thinks that, okay? But the point being, you look at his numbers and Purdue's a really good shooting team. I just gave you, I know, and there could have been other ones out there that missed shots, but, I mean, he runs the team really, really well. I just think once he understands and he's kind of loose with the ball, and I think when you play a team like UConn and Alabama, he has to tighten it up a little bit. That's part of learning, I guess, in American basketball.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a different. Yeah, I'm coughing over here. I've got a little cold, so it's just trying to clear my name.
You're lying. You're trying to put some funny stuff out there and make us laugh because it's funny.
Oh shoot! Oh my god. I will say it is a different game, and I think ultimately, as I'm really happy to see Illinois giving these guys. I think you got to give Underwood some credit. He's given these guys minutes, and he's kind of playing around with matchups. And I'll tell you what, I'm a little afraid of UConn, and I'll tell you why, Brad and Ked, and you guys can tell me why I'm wrong. Right now, the Ivasiches don't look like they feel very good, either physically or emotionally right now. And I'm a little nervous about UConn on the inside. So I actually feel okay about Illinois on the perimeter, but on the inside, I'm a little bit spooked.
Yeah. Go ahead. I think that's fair. I think so. UConn's obviously going to have the big kid, Eric Reed, the freshman. He's going to start if Terrace Reed's out. They're going to play, a Jalen Stewart, who was at the 4. Obviously, another good player. They have a good front court, but I think that if Terrace Reed's out, this team isn't quite the team they were. Terrace Reed had a really good. He was off to got a really good year last year. He's that inside presence. He was off to a great start this year, but. A great defensive rebounder too, and really, block shots, does all those things. For me, the big question for me is, can they keep, whether it's Ball, Damari, whoever, Silas Damari, out of the paint, not let him penetrate, and then because then if you get in rotation, Caravan will kill you. I mean, shooting 50% from 3. So that's where I'm. Yeah, but I can see what you're saying. I think that I'm more concerned when they have to guard out on the perimeter. Like, I really don't like, especially Z guarding out on the perimeter, because he just doesn't move well. But if he's inside, playing in there, I think that he can, he's more versatile. You know what I mean? Like he can play inside, he can defend the rim, but he's not a great one-on-one defender. He's not really a great post defender, things like that. So I'd like to see, and Tommy's not healthy. So
right, exactly.
Just saw them split. They're going to play. Now we say all that, and we start looking at it. Okay, they combined Z and Tommy played a combined 40 minutes at center, right?
Yep.
They combined for 20 points and 12 rebounds.
And they can play outside defense like Kofi.
Yeah, I mean, they basically are. I mean, they only had one block. They basically move their feet. They make Kofi look like a, laterally lightning quick dude. I mean, so, at times. So, but I don't think Tommy's healthy. He was better than that a year ago in those situations. So, and Z's problem is he stands up and he jumps in the air on guys. Now, I will say this. I think, tonight they played a guy who was like that. He's a little bit like Petrovic in his style of play. He's going to shoot shot fake, get you up in the air, and then get to the basket and use that physicality. Not Petrovic, Merkovic. And so I think they played it with Brankovic, another Vic. There's too many Viches. So listen up, Viches. All right. So, but I think they had him, and they played a guy like that, and Z kept leaving his feet. That was the thing. But the other thing you've seen, the actions that are giving Illinois trouble from on the other side are like ghost actions, cuts, getting them caught in bad switches, not communicating. And I think those are things they just have to get better defensively. But again, and let's not turn on Cam Crocker and say he can't defend, he can't teach defense all of a sudden. They have
That's
to
Friday.
practice.
That's Friday, Brad. That's
okay,
today. That's Friday.
Let's wait till after Friday. But what I'll tell you is that they have to practice this communication and playing together in order to get, capable of doing these switches, right? And all those cuts and actions. And so I think that's where you have to be. And that's where practice will help. And after they get done with, they're playing all these games in November. I think, and I think I counted wrong. They play 5 games after they play, or 4 games total. Is it no, they play 5 games in December. 5 games in the month of December. Tennessee, week off, and then they play Ohio State, Nebraska, have, time off, play Missouri, time off, Southern, before they get in the Big Ten play. So you have you're going to have time to practice if you can get everybody healthy. That's why I really think it's key for them to split UConn and Tennessee. And if they win both, it's gravy. But yeah. Now, Brankovic, I will tell you this. They know about him. They knew about him coming over here. He was on the same team when they watched Petrovic play on the national team there. So they've known him for a long time. So this is not something new, but they, obviously Merkovic was the guy that they went with, and you couldn't play those guys together. So.
Well, here's my thought with the visits. I'm really concerned about Thomas Love. He looks slow, unathletic. I don't know if he's healthy, if he's gotten too big. He doesn't pick and pop as well as he once did, and he could be injured still. I just think when you look at this team, we can all be happy about the guards and Andre. But moving forward, you're going to have a Thomas Love. Everybody knew going into the season that he was supposed to be one of the better players in the Big Ten, and either he's injured or he's so slow or too much weight. He doesn't even challenge shots. He doesn't put his hand up. He doesn't rotate very well. I have not seen him do much in the post. There was one time Petrovic was going to throw a pass to him. He couldn't cut, and maybe he is injured. We do know that. I'm not 100% sure, but they're going to have a chance to beat these guys. That's why I was upset that they lost to Alabama. Going to New York, beating UConn is a tall task. Playing on the road at Tennessee is another one. If you beat Texas Tech and you beat Alabama, I wouldn't have cared what happened except for a good performance. But he just doesn't look smooth right now. And Brad, you're 100% right about Zonomir. He'll at least challenge shots, but when people see him on the perimeter, I watch people just go to the left side or right side and they isolate him. And it's tough. So they're going to have to figure that out. But if teams go small, then that's when you're going to have Merkovic step up.
Yeah, and I will tell you, folks, you cannot underestimate that tonsillectomy surgery. I'm not here to make excuses. I had one at the age of 30, and it was a nightmare. And I remember they told me, you'll probably miss 2 to 3 weeks of work. And I had never missed a day of work in my life when I had that. And at the 2-week point, I went to work, and I went to work for about 3 hours and went back home and decided to take another week off. So that is a very physically taxing surgery. And I can see where he is playing his way back into shape. And again, I'm not trying to say it's all that. I don't have any access to his medical records. And certainly Brad Underwood does not make a habit of calling me up to talk to me about anything. But I would say that is not an easy surgery to get over. Then when you throw the knee twist on it afterwards, it may be that he didn't run for 4 weeks. I'm talking about didn't run, and now you're up playing against these college players who've been going at it since early in the fall. So again, not trying to make excuses. I'm just trying to put some perspective around it that might be what he's going through. So I tend to be in Kenny's corner, that he's still hurting a little bit, but he's trying to play and he's just not there yet. I don't, again, I get somebody saying, "Oh, you're a homer," but again, I had that surgery later in life and it sucks.
Yeah, and he's later in life too.
I mean,
he looks like
that much.
He's about like a 40-year-old, right? No, I agree. And the thing is, like, it's not just that too. It's missing 13 straight practices after that. Then you get hurt right after you come back, and then you miss more practices. What did out of the 40 practices that they had going after the Alabama game, he had practiced 9 times out of 40.
Yeah,
I think
practice.
Practice. We're talking about practice. So, and this is what happens, and he's out of game shape, and they just need him to get better. So, and that's
and December, like you said, the schedule sets up well to get him ready for January.
Correct. It really does. They just have to find a way to survive until then, and that's where Z has to be a little better. And I know he's not 100% either, but he's well, and he's good enough. He just has to be a little better in some of those defensive aspects if they want to do this. Mirkovich has to get better on defense too. I mean, he's got to be better defensively. I think that's, back to our original point. I don't want to beat the dead horse.
Did we have a point?
Well, the original argument Ed and I had, and I'm going to tell you, I wish they had Ty Rogers to play some of those minutes. I mean, I really do, because I think he could be a guy who complements the 5 shooters or the other 4 shooters. But I would say this. Yeah. I think that's why I think Hummerkaus is playing power forward. I think that's why he's seeing more minutes, because Mirkovich is not defending. When Mirkovich defends, I think Hummerkaus is going to play less.
And he came out early right away. If you remember in the game, he came out early for that reason, I think.
Yep.
So is Mirkovich not defending? Is it a will thing, or is it just I haven't figured out the quickness? How to battle quick.
I do think that, and the same thing. And for all the people out there, this should make you happy. Brad Underwood, Ben is becoming an elite defender and rebounding at a high level. So that should make everybody happy, make me look stupid, but I still don't change my mind. I still feel the way I feel, even if Brad Underwood said it. But I do think it's a combination of both. David's got to play. And you know what? We got to remember I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm sure you both have heard the same thing. The players from Europe, they're good guys. They're very good they're good players, but it's an adjustment. I wrote an article for Orlando guys, and just the language barriers alone, trying to have to figure that stuff out, it takes a while. And for all the people out there that don't understand, it was really, really hard to coach Kasparis last year from a coaching standpoint, just from the understanding. They've been told to do things one way. And Brad has mentioned a million times on our message board that, it was a learning experience because Petrovic doesn't know how to play without the ball. Tonight, I thought he did pretty well, but it's, you don't practice a lot. Then you have to, then you got games. So it's not like this team was in June, they were all together, because they haven't. Some guys got in late, and then some guys came in, not prepared. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, Brad and I we disagree. I don't argue with Brad. I'm sorry, I'm not calling it that. You guys can call it arguing. And Brad's my guy, so I'll tell you right now. So you guys can call it arguing, whatever. We just disagree, and I'm not the only person that disagrees with that. So, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, look, you know what we expect. We're not like his unit. We don't have the same opinions on everything.
We
That's just
don't,
the way it is.
and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, and so I like I said, the other guy that I like is I know that he's not looking to pass the ball, but my goodness, Stojakovic takes the ball to the dang rack, and it's so nice to see somebody who doesn't just give up and go, oh, I'm going to take the 18-footer or the 12-footer. No, he finds a way to get to the basket, and that is fun to watch.
Yeah,
I like that.
He's
I have
so
a question.
smooth too, isn't
So
he? He's like,
people ask if we disagree, but I think, if I'm wrong, and I will admit this one on our
We'll
message
disagree
board.
with you if you're wrong.
Well, you should, because I'm gonna do the same thing. But I think on the message board, I think Brad made a comment after the Alabama game about him isolating and going one-on-one. I mean, about him, he should kick the ball out or do certain things. See, to me personally, I like him doing that. And it doesn't mean that one person's right or wrong. We just have to disagree on it, because me personally, when I see him going to the basket when there's not, he looks like a go-to guy to me. They don't have a really go-to guy other than him. So a lot of people are saying, don't want to see him ISO, the ball sticks with him. And it does. But he's producing. I mean, so I see both sides.
Oh, I like it. I mean, I think it's a good play. I think it's a good thing to do. You just have to use him put him in the right situations. Like, I don't want him backing down guys from the 3-point line. He's not the match.
Yep, I agree.
But get him when he gets the ball in that ISO and the elbow, and you got 4 shooters around the perimeter, they can't guard him. Alabama had no chance to guard him. And then, but the thing was tonight, what made it, he did a good job. The only time he had a couple of turnovers, when he had a couple of turnovers, they were because they doubled. And that's where he's got to make that next adjustment is understanding when they maybe help getting those gaps with their hands. Maybe they come and double when he's backing the guy down or getting the guy post. But what you saw him adjust was going quicker, right? He went quicker out of that attack. He didn't wait for that double team to come. He just went. He just took guys and got to the rim before the help could come. And that's part of it. You saw, Tyler Underwood does a really good job of getting guys in position where they can succeed offensively. And I think, that's what he's done with Stojakovic. And he's been so much more, whether he makes the threes or not, he's been so much more efficient offensively than he was previously. Right. Yeah. And that's a huge change. As part of that's because they're putting him in a position to be successful.
And I gotta be honest with
you. Yeah. I'll throw something out here, because even though Terrence Shannon had the greatest year of any Illini in the last probably 50 years, I actually think Stojakovic gets to the rim even better than Terrence Shannon did. Terrence Shannon did a lot of those in break opportunities, but not always in half-court situations. Mm-hmm. And Stojakovic, I got to give him credit, man. That dude just goes for the hoop. And again, it opens up so much for his teammates, and I think it'll be more important in the Big Ten season than what we're seeing now.
I think you like that because he could go both ways. Terrence was good going to his right, but he was dominantly just left-handed. Stojakovic, you don't know which way he's going, and he can find a hole everywhere. I mean, and he's tall. He doesn't look tall on TV, but when you stand next to him, he really is 6'6", 6'7". He really is. He's a taller kid, but he's so crafty at what he's doing. And I think, we talked earlier about, figuring it out. This kid's a junior. And so he understands, even though he's in a new system, you got Petrovic and the other foreign guys, they're learning this. This is new to them. So, he has an upper leg on them. And no matter how you look at it, he's going to be the guy, I think, the go-to guy. And he could potentially, in my personal opinion, be one of the top scorers in the Big Ten. And I was kind of upset that he didn't make the All-Big Ten, preseason All-Big Ten team. Then Brad found out that, I think you said that they split votes with him and Thomas Law. Is that what happened? I think you said. So, but that stuff will take care of itself.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's shooting. He came in, and this just tells you maybe the change. Now he's a career. I mean, he shot 82% from free throws from the line last year, right? And now he's shooting 50%, but he is shooting 68% on twos after shooting 48% on twos a year ago. And we're talking against the best competition, the top 100 games. He's shooting 71% from two. Now I can't make free throws against those guys. They defend the free throw well, evidently. But I really am. I'm impressed with what he's done. He's doing a fantastic job, though. I think it's really impressive what he's done. I think they're using him properly. And like Ked mentioned, Tall, I didn't realize it was in Chicago last week. I walked out to the arena with him. Dude is 6'7". He's legit 6'7". He is tall.
He's long too.
Long. And you see him get there. He's so smooth. He's so smooth. He's able to, he plays off 2 feet really well. Terrence would come in and just almost bully, try and go over you, through you, whatever it took. And he was fantastic. No, Terrence is awesome.
Exactly.
I'll take Terrence on any team I've ever seen, right? But this, what Stojakovic does, if you kind of stop him, he can pivot and get through and go underneath you. And he's so smooth with that finish. And, pretty impressive. What he's done. It's pretty, I'm very excited about what he can be throughout the rest of this year. And then I also look at, they got to get a little more consistency, I think, from Boswell. And maybe tonight he was just whatever.
He looks bored. He looked bored tonight.
He did. I think he wasn't like that against Alabama.
Nope.
Or Texas Tech. But he almost looked disinterested tonight. And then you wonder, was the game plan to kind of let Petrovic run a little bit and see what he could do? And I thought it was interesting. Brad's post-game comment is he's not sure how they're going to use Petrovic yet and how he's going to fit. That's interesting because he does make changes. Or he does change the pace. He changes the flow, change the way things go with the offense.
But the thing with him, Kylan has to be on the floor, but he's a scoring guard. Petrovic is a true point guard. He's looking to pass, and he makes great passes, and he finds the open guy. Kylan, we know how strong he is. He gets to the basket. He's not as good a passer as Petrovic. I mean, we got to call a spade a spade. He's not. And so it changes the pace of the game. What I really want to see, and I'm telling you, I think if they start making shots, especially Tommy, and Ben and Jake and whoever hell is shooting the three, he's going to find you. Like I said, he had 4 assists tonight, you guys saw the same game I did. There was guys that missed wide open shots, and that's what he brings to the table. And when I was telling people how crafty he is, you saw how good he can get to the basket. Once he gets you on your hip, you're at his mercy.
Well, that I don't care what anybody says. That crossover dribble that he did, that'll work in the Big Ten. That'll work anywhere because that was some great speed.
It wouldn't have worked against us, Mike, because we never would have moved.
We don't move, but unfortunately, they don't have people of our side-to-side quickness in the Big Ten. Like for instance, I'll do some side-to-side quickness right here. You want to see me do it again?
Yeah, literally. I have just running up down the court there, and I officiating a basketball game. I was like, "What is wrong?" I was sore for a day. Yeah, it's not good. I didn't have to go lateral. I was just forward.
Yeah, mostly. Exactly. Why do you don't go lateral? Neither do I.
I just go over.
I just move my shoulder. I move my head from left to right. That's lateral. I got to move laterally here. But I think Petrovic. I do think there's some possibilities for him. Now, obviously, Ked got roasted on Twitter and various places for saying that he was as good as Braden Smith, and we had people arguing all over the internet over that. But from a physicality standpoint, I really wonder as he gets his confidence on him, and you give him a couple of years of college ball, just how good he will be.
Mike, that was my point. I want people to understand, as I said this before, you look at his numbers and how his ability to get to the rim is just like Braden Smith. His crossover, his shooting ability, and I even said that during that podcast that Braden is a better player. Nobody is sitting there saying, no way in hell would I sit and say a guy that's played 4 years of college basketball and a guy that's, even though he's, like I said, 47 years old and playing his first year of college basketball, they play a lot alike. And he's just as quick, and his handling and the way he can shoot the ball and the way he can pass the ball, they're a lot similar. And I don't regret what I said. You saw it tonight. And I know all these people can get mad and they're going to be negative on Twitter. When you do, you're just going to get blocked. But you saw what I saw tonight. You saw his talent tonight, and he hasn't been healthy. They play a lot alike, and that's all I was trying to say. But the Purdue fans don't like that. They don't want, Braden Smith is Moses and Jesus. I get it, I guess, or Satan, whatever the hell you want to call him. Point being, he is a good basketball player, and once he went all over
the map on that.
I know.
We went from Moses to Satan.
Whether he's
Satan, baby.
a Purdue fan or a fan of every other Big Ten team.
I think Ken was trying to get the full scope.
I want the Purdue fans to come back
that we can make because he's compared
the yin and the yang.
They're gonna come back, and I won't be on Twitter all night. I won't sleep at all looking for those people. I'm just kidding.
So yeah,
fun.
I think he's fine. I think they have to figure out how they're going to fit because here's the thing: Brad wants to use positional size, right? So he has a hard time playing Petrovic, Boswell, and Wagler together, and then going small with Stojakovic. I mean, at the 4 against the small ball teams, they've really struggled against the small ball, and I don't know. And how they use him, but the one thing is, if you're not going to guard, you better score. You know what I mean?
But you know what I think? And I could be wrong, guys. I really think because Keaton is taller, and you got to play Kylan. You have to put him on the floor.
Sure.
You can't put them both on the floor together. But I think that's going to be the substitution. He'll have to sub in for unless someone's in foul trouble, because you can't have them on the floor at the same time. But I could see him. I see that. Oh my gosh, Mike! Are you trying, Mike? What?
I do think they are. The one thing I'll say is I think that there are 120 minutes on the perimeter, and you've really got whether it's you can get Petrovic 20 minutes pretty easily.
I agree totally.
I'm not saying he has to play 30. I think you can get him 20 minutes and he can really impact the game with that energy off the bench for 20 minutes a game, and that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see them when he's in the game. He's got to be a guy who can has the ball and gets a chance to make plays, because I think that's what
who he reminds me of. He reminds me of Curbelo with an outside shot and without the dumb passes.
Oh, he'll make some dumb passes. Maybe not.
I'm not saying he's not going to make some. It's just
he's going to. He got lucky tonight. Yes, he's going to do that.
Yeah,
and he'll make some bad passes. But I also think and it's weird though. It's almost like I don't know whether he's struggling with playing limited minutes right now, or whether he's struggling with the game and the physical. I mean, he got hit in the face on the one time he got stolen from him. It's like that's different. That's a foul in Europe.
They ain't in Europe anymore.
Well, you're not. We're and he's gonna get mugged in Madison Square Garden. I mean, so probably go to New York City. By the way, did you see that Stojakovic has never been to New York before? He said that tonight. This will be his first trip to New York City. That's insane. I mean, his dad played in the NBA for so many years. His mom's a supermodel. You would think this dude's been to, so forth. I don't know.
Wow.
My dad did not play in the NBA, nor was my mom a supermodel, and yet I've been to New York a lot of times.
Yeah, I did not get to New York City till probably close to 40. So I guess I traveled all over the U.S., but didn't travel into New York. I guess 30. I guess 31.
You know what? I've been all over the country as well. I've never been to New York. I have been to California, Arizona, everywhere. Really? Yeah, I have. And when I hear people talk about Madison Square Garden, I got to get there. I mean, I have to. And New York looks beautiful, and I got to make it there one time. But I've never been there before.
This is 3 years in a row for us, for Illinois. So I've gotten to go 3 years in a row, and then went back a few other times. So, yeah, been a few times. Should be fun. What do you think? All right, so let's wrap it up. Let's talk about Friday.
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
What do you think of that matchup?
My matchup, I like. I will go back to my original statement. Illinois needs Thomas Law to be productive. They need a 16, 18-point production from him and 4 or 5 rebounds. I don't know what it is. We're never going to know. But if they don't, I think to give you credit, you posted on our message board when they played Alabama. The post play that game was horrible. We got nothing out of it. They can't do that Friday. They cannot go lay an egg Friday and not produce. They have to give us something.
I tell you what, I am a little bit concerned that Illinois is a little bit like a donut. They've got a hole in the middle right now, and I'm not blaming anybody. I just think the Twins are a little under, the weather, so to speak, from injuries and illness. And I think Illinois would do much better if this game was, if you put this game on, let's say, instead of this Friday, which is November 29th, if you put it on December 29th, I think Illinois would be in a much better place because they would have a little bit of time for these guys to kind of get their sea legs back.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's an interesting matchup. I do think Terrace Reed is a guy who I think it helps, obviously, UConn to have him on the floor. I'm not totally convinced it doesn't maybe help Illinois to have him on the floor.
I'm not totally sold on him either. I got to be honest with you.
No, he's really good. I'm not saying he's not good, but Illinois matches up so much better with a guy like him. We've seen them, if they go small and they put like they go small with, like, I don't know who they're going to, put the guy like, if Illinois is not going to use the post, you can pretty much play anybody you want on offense at the 5 because Illinois doesn't take advantage of it on the other end. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I mean, so if they go small and let's say go Jalen Stewart and Karoma and they play those guys together, let's say they do that, or Caravan, shoot, you can put Caravan at the 5, right? 6'8", 230, whatever. I know he's an outside shooter, but Karoma or Caravan and they've got Reeby, the 7'1" kid. But if they have Reed, they're going to play Reed and Reeby more, and they're going to play most of those minutes 5. You can match up with those guys. I'm not saying you may win the matchup, but at least it's a more matchup that makes more sense. Then so that's where I want to see them, figure out a way to. They may match up better because if they go small, they got to figure out a way to guard small, and they can't do it right now. Especially a small when you've got 5 guys out there for UConn who can shoot the ball. And Demari's not a shooter. I get that, but he can really get in the, he can get inside, he can drive, he plays in the paint and so forth. But they've got, when you got bigs that can shoot, it stretches them out and makes them go to the basket. And so Caravan would be one. Jalen Stewart's he's shooting 37% from 3. Caravan's shooting 50% from 3. If that's your front court, Illinois doesn't match up very well with that. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't know what's, I do think this is a game Illinois can win if they play well. But I don't know. And the weird thing about that is, like, I thought Tommy, here's the other part about Tommy. I thought he looked better on Saturday coming off of Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
He didn't look very good tonight. So is that just the conditioning, the bounce back, that not having time? If he gets some time tomorrow and then Wednesday and then having the 3 days off, he might look better
I agree
on
with that.
Friday than he did tonight because he'll have a little
there.
time. Yeah, I mean, it's get that tryptophan, fall asleep and all that good stuff. But, and I know they're going to be there. I think they're going Wednesday, I'm pretty sure. So they're going to be there for that day.
So they could celebrate Thanksgiving with pizza.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of options there in New York. A lot of options. So all right, we're gonna wrap this up, and we will be back, as you guys see, Friday 11:30 a.m. We haven't decided if we're going to do a pregame show. We will definitely do halftime and postgame.
My bad. I just read your text.
Yeah. So we're going to do halftime and that for sure. Then we'll be back the next day for the finale against Northwestern, in which we will do halftime and post game. And if you want to hear some serious whining, if Illinois loses both games to UConn and Wisconsin, and Northwestern, you better come on here, because you're going to see a bunch of babies bawling, and it's not going to be really good. So we can really let you know where we're at there. But we'd love to have you. Of course, if you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, that's great. If you could also, IlliniGuys.com, $99 a year, and you can get on and subscribe and get on the message boards and argue with us directly. It won't just be me filling out smart alecky comments, but you can get Brad, Ked, Matt, and Larry, and that's usually some fun. We certainly would love that. $99 a year is a great value, and it helps us be able to defray expenses, pay Brad to fly out to New York, those type of things. With this new huge Big Ten, those expenses are a lot higher. And anytime you see our stuff, if you want to follow me at Mike Kegley, follow Ked at Ked Prince 4, follow Sturdy at Sturdy32. If you can forward out our podcasts and our YouTubes on your social media, that really helps us as well. So thanks for doing that for those who do. But we will be back on Friday, and we look forward to seeing you all. Until then, go Illini.